Most parents believe that as long as their baby is fed, clothed, and loved, the brain will naturally grow strong and healthy. And while love is essential, what many parents don't realize is that a baby's brain is not just growing because of what you do intentionally, but also because of what you do without thinking. The earliest years of life are not forgiving years. The brain is wiring itself at an incredible speed, forming millions of connections every single second. And these connections are shaped less by toys or education and more by daily patterns, emotional signals, and repeated experiences. What makes this uncomfortable is that many of the habits that interfere with healthy brain development are considered normal, harmless, or even recommended by society. Parents repeat them because everyone else does. No one warns them. No one explains the cost. And by the time the effects become visible, the damage has already settled into the foundation of the brain. One of the most overlooked habits is emotional absence while being physically present. Many parents sit next to their baby, feed them, dress them, even play beside them, yet their attention is elsewhere. Phones, scrolling, notifications, messages, background videos, or simply mental exhaustion pull the parent out of the moment. From the adult's perspective, nothing wrong is happening. The baby is safe, but from the baby's brain perspective, something critical is missing. A developing brain is constantly scanning faces for emotional signals. Eye contact, facial expressions, vocal tone, and timing are how the brain learns safety, connection, and regulation. When those signals are inconsistent or absent, the brain adapts by lowering expectations. Neural pathways responsible for social engagement, emotional regulation, and communication don't strengthen the way they should. Over time, the baby becomes quieter, more withdrawn, or unusually self-soothing. Parents often misinterpret this as independence or calmness, not realizing it is the brain learning not to expect interaction. Another habit that quietly reshapes the brain is overstimulation without regulation. Bright lights, constant noise, fast-paced videos, flashing screens, and toys that never stop talking overwhelm a nervous system that is still under construction. A baby's brain is not designed to process continuous stimulation. It needs pauses. It needs silence. It needs slow rhythms. When stimulation never stops, the brain stays in a low-grade stress state. Stress chemicals like cortisol interfere with neural growth, especially in areas related to attention, memory, and emotional control. The child may appear excited or engaged, but inside, the brain is learning chaos. Later, this often shows up as difficulty focusing, restlessness, irritability, or emotional outbursts that seem to come out of nowhere. A third common habit is rushing developmental milestones. Parents are told to push early reading, early counting, early sitting, early walking, early talking. The pressure is constant. But the brain does not develop in isolated skills. It develops in layers. When parents push performance before the emotional and sensory foundations are ready, the brain compensates by skipping steps. This creates fragile connections that don't hold under stress. A child may perform well early but struggle later with confidence, frustration tolerance, or learning persistence. The brain remembers being pushed before it felt safe, and it carries that memory into future challenges. Another deeply damaging habit is minimizing or dismissing emotions. When a baby cries, fusses, or reacts strongly, adults often try to stop the behavior quickly. Distractions, shushing, labeling the reaction as dramatic, or telling the child they are fine teaches the brain a powerful lesson. Emotions are inconvenient and unsafe to express. The developing brain needs emotional mirroring to learn regulation. When emotions are dismissed instead of acknowledged, the brain suppresses rather than processes. Over time, this suppression rewires stress pathways. Children raised this way may struggle to identify feelings, regulate reactions, or trust their own emotional signals. The damage is not visible immediately, but it appears later as anxiety, emotional numbness, or explosive behavior. Another habit that quietly interferes with brain growth is inconsistent responses. Sometimes parents respond warmly, sometimes harshly, sometimes not at all. This unpredictability forces the brain into constant alert mode. The baby doesn't know what to expect, so the nervous system stays hypervigilant. Brain energy that should be used for learning and growth is redirected towards survival. This pattern weakens the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for impulse control and decision-making, while strengthening fear-based responses. The child may appear clingy, overly cautious, or unusually reactive, all signs of a brain trying to stay safe in an unpredictable environment. Sleep disruption is another underestimated factor. Sleep is not rest time for the brain. It is construction time. During deep sleep, neural connections are strengthened, pruned, and organized. When sleep is irregular, overstimulated, or interrupted unnecessarily, brain development suffers. Many parents unintentionally disrupt sleep with screens before bed, inconsistent routines, or responding to every noise with stimulation instead of calm reassurance. Over time, poor sleep interferes with emotional regulation, memory formation, and attention development. The brain never gets the quiet space it needs to organize itself. A particularly harmful habit is using distraction instead of connection to manage discomfort. When a baby is upset, handing over a screen, toy, or snack may stop the crying, but it bypasses the brain's opportunity to learn regulation through connection. The brain learns that discomfort should be avoided, not processed. This weakens internal coping mechanisms and increases dependence on external soothing. Later in life, this pattern often becomes emotional eating, screen dependency, or difficulty tolerating frustration. The brain never learned how to calm itself with support and presence. Another subtle habit is talking around the baby instead of with the baby. Many parents provide constant background noise but little direct interaction. Babies learn language and cognition through responsive communication, not passive listening. When speech is not directed, timed, and responsive, language pathways develop more slowly and less efficiently. The brain misses opportunities to connect sounds with meaning, emotion, and social cues. This can later appear as delayed speech, difficulty expressing needs, or weak communication skills. Finally, one of the most damaging habits is believing that these years don't matter that much. Many parents think real development starts later, with school, discipline, or structured learning. But the brain's foundation is laid long before those stages. What happens now determines how the brain handles stress, relationships, learning, and self-worth for years to come. The brain does not forget early patterns. It builds on them. What makes all of this painful is that none of these habits come from bad intentions. They come from exhaustion, misinformation, cultural pressure, and survival. Parents are doing their best with what they know, but awareness changes outcomes. When parents slow down, become emotionally present, reduce overstimulation, respect developmental timing, and respond with consistency and empathy, the brain responds immediately. Neural pathways strengthen, stress decreases, regulation improves. The child becomes calmer not because they are controlled, but because their brain feels safe. Your baby's brain does not need perfection. It needs presence. It needs predictability. It needs connection more than correction. Small daily changes create massive neurological shifts. The earlier you become aware, the more power you have to protect what is still forming. And if this video made you uncomfortable, that discomfort is not guilt. It is awareness waking up. Awareness means you still have time to slow down, time to reconnect, time to give your child something far more valuable than stimulation, discipline, or performance. You can give them a brain that feels safe enough to grow, strong enough to regulate, and secure enough to thrive.